start the panel and discussion. So first of all, let's welcome Zhang Yanfeng, the Yangtze River Delta Hydrogen Technology Institute, to be the moderator of the panel discussion. Panelists are Zhuoping, professor at Tongji University, Tian, the research fellow at the Dalian Institute of Chemical Physics, and Bingbing, the捷氢Technology Company General Manager, and Xiaoshuang, the Vice President of Jiping New Energy Technology, and Deputy Manager of the PGM Market Development of Anglo American Liu Xiaofeng. Oh, thank you very much for giving me the role as the moderator of the panel discussion. Well, this is not my own honor of myself. This is the honor of our organization, Yangtze River Delta Research Center for Hydrogen Energy Technology. So thank you very much. Well, we just now we heard three very heavyweight presentations. They're very informative, and we have learned a lot from the key players in this industry and experts and scientists. Because the keynote speech is limited to only 20 or 15 minutes, so if there's anything that's left out in the presentation, well, please stick around in our panel discussion, because more information will be discussed here. Many of some of you are already, we work together, or that you are my teachers, and I learned a lot from some of the panelists in my career. So in case the audience do not know them, maybe you can introduce yourself. So Mr. Yu, he also served an important role in the Shanghai government advisory, and he's making a lot of the cutting-edge research in the new energy vehicle sector. Mr. Yu, maybe you can talk a little bit more about yourself. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm a professor of Tongji University, and my other roles is with a fuel cell company. This company, well, is a smart transportation science and innovation platform, and this company is supported by Shanghai government and especially Jiading district government. And this platform is aiming to build a fuel cell lab. And now our company is already pretty much in shape. So I would invite everyone to visit our lab. Our lab covers the research of many important materials like PGM catalyst, membranes, and the battery cells, anode, cathode, and the stockpiles. And we also have the capability of testing and inspections. We are working also with the Shanghai car makers and the vehicle operation companies. So we're building this network at the moment.
In the Jiading Hydro Hub, we have invested invested in total around 1 billion RMB regarding fuel cells themselves, but also we have a wider expansion and a collaboration in the entire Yangtze River Delta region, including some branches in Wuxi and other parts of the Yangtze River Delta. We'll talk about we need to have market-ready technologies like fighting the war. So science will provide very important foundation. And here, I just want to send you an invitation for further collaboration with us. And I want to see you visiting our lab. Thank you. Professor Yu's lab is a very important part of Shanghai's overall science and technology development initiative. I myself worked in his lab. I think his lab is very much a leading lab, not only in Shanghai, but also in the entire Yangtze River Delta region. So I want to echo his invitation. If you're interested, feel free to visit his lab. In terms of business incubation, what will be your considerations, or how do you think your company is positioned in terms of green transportation? Currently, regarding biofuel conversion, we mainly target firstly 2 generations of technology, the 2-step pathway to do the conversion, because currently in China there are 1.6 million tons of biofuel production capacity, mostly exporting to Europe. But in Europe, there are 2 outcomes. One is to use it as intermediate to produce jet fuel or bio-based jet fuel, or to be consumed directly in Europe. And currently, there are some changes in China. One is the biofuel is elevated to biojet fuel. So we see demands here. On the other hand, in China, we do see huge demand for biojet fuel going forward. On one hand, Chinese domestic airlines or aircrafts need bio-based jet fuel. On the other hand, when you fly to Europe or to America, maybe you are under local regulations to have a certain proportion of biojet fuel, which represent both a challenge to the aviation company from China as well as opportunities for us. So I do see from the perspective of large energy companies and from the perspective of private capital, some desire to enter into this field to develop and contribute to the development of bio-based jet fuel. We have talked with quite a number of players and potential markets or potential entrants. We do see huge markets. We do see some companies having this desire to collaborate with us. Understood. So you do have commercial considerations and you're working on commercial conversion. Well, I'm not sure from the VC side, have you actually captured this idea that they have this commercialization intention? Many thanks. For Mr. Lu, my company, we mainly work on the PEM electrode stack and for fuel cell as well as applications. Regarding applications, we have vehicle applications, non-vehicle applications. So the fuel cell vehicle is still in the early stage of commercialization. We start by simply promoting products, but currently we're working on the promotion of holistic solutions, including the application of fuel cell. So that's pretty much what we do. Actually, Mr. Lu, you keep a low profile here. We heard yesterday that you have plans to go IPO, and I've actually seen your IPO documents really setting a good example for the entire industry. You represent Guangdong Jiping, Professor Shu, and Guangdong Jiping has already become a group instead of a limited company. So maybe you can walk us through the company. Jiping New Energy is China's first to do hydrogen and fuel cells catalyst at scale. And currently we have 2 headquarters. We have 1 headquarters in Shanghai, in Jiading, and the second headquarters in Foshan City of Guangdong Province. We have 2 fully automated production lines with annual capacity of 8 tons per year. So we have 4 different types of business. First is fuel cell catalyst, and second is water electrolysis catalyst, and the third is alkaline water catalyst. And currently we have a new business which is electrode. As for hydrogen, hydrogen is Jiping, where Mr. Lu is from, is also a very important partner of us. So currently, about 1,000 new energy vehicles use our catalyst, and we are keep expanding our business. We hope to find more application scenarios for our catalyst. So we do want to have more collaboration with more research institutes and government departments so that we can contribute to the industry in general. Many thanks. Mr. Shu mentioned it's very aptly that Jiping is the first in China to produce fuel cell catalyst at scale. And I heard from Mr. Lian, Mr. Tian, the considerations on the part of VC side, and Mr. Shu actually talks about the business side. Next, I will ask Mr. Xiaoshuang. I think your dress style very very buoyant, very vibrant. Can you just talk to us Anglo America's consideration regarding green transportation? Thank you very much. And I'm sure you're all familiar with Anglo America, a world leader in mining with mining resources across the world. Our products range from diamonds, copper, nickel, and high quality iron ore, as well as coal and PGM. We're also developing crop production elements. This is a project currently on the way. For green transportation, at the group level, we have been working on promoting a lot of green transportation projects, including last year, a truck vehicle with 2 megawatts of fuel cell system, the largest in the world in terms of size and in terms of power. A truck used in mine. Going forward, we will deploy the truck to all the mining sites that Anglo America has across the world. And last year, we have 10 dry bulk carrier in order to get our products shipped across the world from our mining sites. We purchased the 8 from China, and last year, we saw the delivery of number 7 or number 8 dry bulk boat. So all these are a group level strategy in order for us to achieve carbon neutrality by 2030 or 2040. As for PGM, it's closely related to green transportation because catalyst relies on platinum and palladium, and PGM is also used in a lot of other areas, such as the PAM. For example, we see a project, VOC Solutions, for Chinese PAM producer and also for fuel cell system for the grid. It's a part of supplying additional electricity to grid and also used to charge electric vehicles. We invested in North America called Line, doing fuel cell-based solutions in terms of aviation. Professor Tian talked about SAF. PGM will also play a role. As for LNG and the exhaust from boats, PGM can also be used. So in all these areas, PGM is closely related to green transportation. This does not happen by chance because PGM has a lot of inherent properties such as high chemical stability, anti-corrosion, antioxidation, and other properties, as was mentioned by previous speakers, such as high selectivity in chemical reaction so that it doesn't give rise to byproducts. So at the level of chemical reaction, you can achieve catalyst and the dissolution in a low temperature environment. That means it's very environmentally friendly, also providing additional support to green transportation. That's why I'm saying that PGM are closely related to green transportation. Understood. So what you mentioned is that in the past, mainly you reduce emissions because you were forced to do so, but currently you take a more active role in bringing the emissions down. In other words, you have a lot of projects under development to initially bring down CO2 emissions. And I've seen from the demonstration side that you have a huge gathering of such technological solutions. Exactly. So I just want to say to the audience on site and those who tune in, if you take a look at the grand scene venue that today we have, you know Anglo America is very committed to this field and they have the capacity and the means to realize their ambitions, because the panel is the only thing between you and launch. So I will ask the last question. What do you think represent the biggest challenge to green transportation, and what strategic plans that you and your institute has or are considering in order to respond to such challenges? Regarding green transportation is the mega trend, as was mentioned by a lot of speakers. But in my presentation, I mentioned that every transition comes with tremendous challenges. Actually, out of all the challenges, the most difficult is that in the process of transition, you do have existing industries or traditional industries. they are there. You need to transform these traditional or existing industries. So the biggest challenge always comes from traditional or existing industries. And in the process of electrification, as you can see, 20 years ago, when we talk about electrification started as early as 20 years ago, but 20 years ago, electrification faced obstacles and impediments by traditional industries. As you can see, things are presented today, those who shine in the EV market are always the players that had this ambition and determination like a couple of years ago. But also, they represent new players like the new energy markets, such as NEO, and traditional vehicle companies, traditional OEMs also have transformational plan, such as BYD. BYD is working very much hard on that front, though not very successful. But again, the key challenge is to see the trend. When you see the trend clearly, traditional players will have a stronger force to achieve the transformation as long as they see the trend clearly. That's the first challenge. And the second challenge is that such transformation means a dramatic change of the overall environment and ecosystem for the industry. In other words, not only this industry is affected, but other industries have to be integrated with this industry. As was mentioned by Professor Chen, integration is a very good word. If you want to achieve the transformation, integration is a must. Let's take the new energy vehicle industry as an example. This industry is tightly bound with the energy industry. I think that 100 years ago, when the car industry just started, it was closely bound with the petrol industry, with the oil industry. Without such tight bonding, without the emergence of so many gas refueling stations, it's possible for the vehicle industry to develop so good. If you want to develop hydrogen or fuel cell vehicles, then you must have hydrogen refueling stations. Without them having existence in many different places, it's impossible for you to develop hydrogen or fuel cell vehicles. So that means a paradigm shift. Another very important thing is technological breakthroughs, as was mentioned by Professor Tian. When we talk about fuel cell technological breakthroughs, on one hand, there's still demand for new technologies. I'm more close to the industry side, so I think production at scale is another key word. I think all these are challenges that we need to deal with going forward. Another thing is, in addition to strategy level, tactics are also important. Where do we see the real breakthroughs? What's the key? If we see fuel cell vehicles and if we focus our efforts on passenger vehicles, on sedans, I think that breakthroughs can be achieved earlier. Think about component. Currently, if we can elevate the number from the 100 sets, 1,000 sets to millions of sets, then the cost will be brought down dramatically. Personally, I think fuel cell vehicles will be cheaper than power vehicles, but now that you don't produce them at scale, people just think that you're bluffing. Thank you.
Well, on one thing, thank Professor Yu. I agree with you. We need to make a breakthrough in the application of fuel cell in the automobiles. I actually applauded really hard when after your presentation. I really like your idea. I have also talked to my friends and leaders who are in the fuel cell vehicles. I told them that this year will be a beginning or starting point of the exponential growth of fuel cells. But in the commercialization of fuel cells, we did see many obstacles. So only when the fuel cell is used in the passenger vehicles are we able to break out from the dilemma right now. We have also heard from Professor Yu, first of all, we do need to acknowledge the difficulties right now. We need to work hard on our R&D to make technology breakthroughs. And thirdly, we should also push the commercialization of fuel cells in the passenger vehicles. Okay, Mr. Tian, what do you think are the biggest challenges ahead of us? Well, green development is our responsibility. Market-wise or technology-wise, well, this is something we can solve by our hard work. But I think at the foundation, the first thing we need to look at is the change of mindset. So the pricing of the commercial goods and is based on the cost, for example, the labor cost and the material cost. But in the future, I believe in the green economy, the cost should also be consisted of the environmental impact. This is the change of mindset, a leap of faith. We need to not only pay for the labor cost of the material, we should also pay for a better future of mankind. With that thing factor in the pricing, then the business world can shoulder the responsibility of the green future. So with the change of people's value and mindset, I think it will be easier for us to solve the commercialization problem or technology problem. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tian. And I didn't really think that you would leave out the technology breakthrough and talk about the mission and responsibility of the mankind. Well, this is a very inspiring for us. Then, Mr. Lu, you look really relaxed. You're laying back, and I can see that you're really unwired in this session. So, what's the reason? You must be very confident about the future of hydrogen power, right? Yes. Um, well, in the hydrogen technology, I think there are two big challenges. First of all, it's difficult to get the hydrogen charged, and the second is it's very expensive. So the TCU of the hydrogen power cars is still higher than other solutions. Just as Mr. Yu mentioned, in China there's over 300 hydrogen power stations, but I would say that a very limited number of them are in full operation. It's pretty difficult if you are driving a fuel cell to get the hydrogen charge the time you want. Also, the market is not as mature. There is not a standard process to manage this system. Another challenge we all acknowledged is that the fuel cell is more expensive than ICE cars or NEV cars. So, and there are a few things we can do to lower the cost. One is the scale. Well, scale and cost, well, they are interdependent. We need to solve the problems with a more holistic understanding. The second thing is, of course, the technology. And the third thing, I think the standard system in China should be aligned with the global standards. And also, we need to set up a standards that are ready for the business purposes. We should also work on the synergy across the whole value chain to break down the obstacles between different links in the value chain, between the R&D all the way to the commercialization. So with this whole ecosystem being built, then we can better manage the cost and lower the cost eventually. Well, Mr. Yu says the passenger vehicle is able to add to the scale. It can solve the emission problems. And aside from the automobile, we can develop other applications so that we can expand the whole ecosystem. So I believe this is the key to the commercialization. Well, now I understand why you are so relaxed. You understand that the technology is no longer a big issue. The biggest issue is the infrastructure. Well, I have also found this problem. There's not a limited number of charging station, and it's not fast enough to get hydrogen. And you also hope that we need to create a synergy along the value chain. I understand, and your company is also working to create synergy and boost the coordination along the value chain. And we want to thank you for this effort. And Mr. Shu, maybe can you tell me about your challenges? Well, Our company has already formed a cooperation partnership with many major players in the industry, and we are putting our advantages into the synergic cooperation. So this year, we hope we can have an installed volume of 2,500 vehicles. So we are providing a supplementary services and products to the hydropowered vehicle industry, and our research and development team is also working on this. We are producing better catalyst that is more durable, is more resistant, and we are now working on a PEM products based on graphene, and it's going to be launched to the market very soon. So right now, the hydrogen cars is mostly used in the pilot cities like the Yangtze River Delta and Pearl River Delta. We want to expand our cooperation with other companies. We hope that the technology can be applied to different all the other cities. Only when the industry is become and the center of the attention of the whole industry, or even the public, can this industry enjoy faster development and lower the cost eventually. So we really hope that our company can make our contribution and to boost the development of the whole value chain. Okay, thank you. So you mentioned the to build this synergic cooperation, to build the platform, and the um, to make the contribution to this whole value chain. And I totally agree with that. You also mentioned that you have already made your planning to build this platform. Well, this is a very big feat. Well, in the past, if we only use the standard graphene, then it's a standard carbon product as a catalyst, then technology-wise, there can be a problem. So we need a new technology as well. Then Mr. Liu, representing an Anglo-American. So you are a very important promoter of the hydrogen technology, and you are also working hard to coordinate the efforts of the all the players in the ecosystem. So you have done a lot, but aside from that, do you think there are other challenges or other things you can do? Well, this is a good question. I want to talk about the opportunity and challenges as well. Overall, green transportation, this vision, we are already close to this vision, but the pathway is not decided. We need to decide on the pathway and then walk on the pathway as fast as possible. And in the future, there will be a lot of new technologies, very promising technologies, but these technologies are not still a long way from commercialization and large-scale production. It's not able to compete with the existing solution economic-wise. So that would need the support from many companies. For example, Anglo-American is supporting these technology. We are totally willing to participate in the commercialization project of a new technology. And I believe that other investment institute will be willing to do the same. So with this support, we can totally turn the challenge into an opportunity. When the green transportation vision can fully come to a reality, then we can open up a huge potential in this market. So this is how we can convert the challenge into an opportunity. If we dive into the details, Mr. Yu my and Mr. Lu, Mr. Shu has all mentioned the NEV and the hydrogen cars in the passenger vehicles. We have also done some technical session. One is on the high efficient AWE and also the PEM technology. So this is essential for the development of hydrogen technology. And also for fuel cells, well, there are a lot of technical discussions as well. And we totally hope that the technology can be used in more passenger vehicles. For example, this year with the an Uber supplier with Toyota, we have already applied the hydrogen technology into a few hundreds of the vehicles. And in the future, we do hope that the hydrogen charging station can be built into more places that can support the whole system of fuel cell vehicles. As Mr. Lu mentioned, without the economy of scale, then the fuel cell will not enjoy any competitive advantage in the market nowadays. So only when we promote the technology in the passenger vehicle world can we see its exponential growth in the future. Okay, I understood the commercialization of the fuel cell is very still has a lot of difficulties, but Anglo American is willing to push the development, to stand at the forefront and lead the development in this industry. Yes, we have circled out some of the key applications, and green transportation is one of them. Green transportation is totally linked with the PGM as the catalyst in the chemical industries. So this is a very essential for our business as well. Yeah, I'm deeply touched by Mr. Liu and your efforts. So for many years, you have worked in behind the scene to promote the development of fuel cells and the development of a PGM as a catalyst. Thank you.